we live? Good afternoon, everybody. David Gutowski here with Internet Freedom from McHenry County. I'm so glad you're here today for our 2020 annual meeting, our first annual meeting. We're happy to be able to share with you a lot of what we've accomplished, what we're trying to do, and we're happy you're here. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started. First thing first, if you ever have any questions, and you can put them into the Q&A or the chat, and we will answer them as we go along. So, please let me know, and we'll try to answer them as best as we can. So, this is going out live stream to a number of different sources. I think Facebook is one of them. YouTube is one of them. So, give us a call. Let us know if you have any questions. So we'll go ahead and get started because we have a long agenda to do here. So this is the agenda. The agenda is that we're going to do a quick overview of Internet Freedom from McHenry County. We're going to do board introductions of our fantastic board that we have. Challenges that we face here in McHenry County. The current opportunity we have, because we do have one. The solution to the challenges. Internet Freedom's goals and the projects, our accomplishments, which are numerous, how you can get involved in the summary. So first thing first, IFMC overview is that we were informally created. We got together because we realized there was a problem with our internet infrastructure. We didn't have competition. We didn't have, some of us don't even have internet. So we really needed to address this, and so we started on the path by just immediately and informally getting together and talking with a number of different elected officials. But however, we didn't get far. A lot of our elected officials and admins were not receptive to moving things along, so we officially formed in 2019 when we incorporated. We are a 501c4 nonprofit organization. Unlike a nonprofit 501c4, which is a charity, we are a social organization. We're a kind of like social welfare organization, and we are membership based. We have a total of about 8 members right now, 2 businesses and many individuals. But our mission in itself is to bring community-owned fiber optics to everyone. And our model is cheaper, faster internet for all within McHenry County, and that'll make a lot more sense as we go along. So with board introductions, I'll start with myself. So I'm David Gutowski. I'm the founder, and so the reason why I got involved in this is actually many years ago. I was sitting around, it was like AOL days. It was those days, and I really wanted to. I thought, why don't we have internet, high-speed internet? Why are we only using dial-up? So, but fast forward like 10, 20 years, it's clear that the private sector has not fixed this and will not fix it. So I got involved and I wanted to do something about this because I'm simply just tired of having only one choice. I've moved like 5 times, and every time it's been Comcast. I mean, that's rather strange to me. So, but I have a bachelor's degree from Purdue University. I have a master's degree in business administration. So I have my MBA from Western Governors. I like to run, I like to bike, and as such, I'll go ahead and let Mike take it over.
Hi, I'm Mike Dollar. I got involved with Internet Freedom from McHenry County because as an IT professional, I see the need in this area for much better connection for both businesses and residential. I think it's very important that we progress towards getting that fiber in this area simply because internet has become a public utility. It is just as viable or just as required for day-to-day life as your electricity, your water, your sewage. So as far as my background, I'm an IT professional. I've been an IT professional for a number of years now. I've also got most of my training in the U.S. Army, communications there, all sorts of classic computer stuff as I was growing up. I remember my earliest experiences involved logging on to BBS's with a 56K net server modem before the internet was very prevalent. I'll pass it along to Larry Spaeth, our treasurer.
Hi, I'm Larry Spaeth. I got involved in the fiber optic internet freedom for McHenry County about a year and a half ago when I was, or probably more like 2 years ago. I was concerned about the fiber optic infrastructure because broadband out in the rural areas of McHenry County is pretty spotty at best. I used to have dial-up back when this all was in its infancy, and what I have right now is satellite, which is probably not as good as dial-up. So that should explain why I'm involved. So I'll pass it on to Brett.
Brett Beater, I am the secretary for IFMC. I've been wanting faster internet since I first started using a 300-bit modem in the 80s. So if anybody remembers that, you remember exactly how slow and painful that was to download a text message. I'm involved in many other local nonprofit organizations and just helping to get the fiber spread out and faster internet to everybody around the area.
Thank you, Brett. And with that, we move into our challenges and current opportunity. Any questions? Like I said, you can at any time go ahead and ask questions, and we'll try to answer them as we go along. Mike? Or am I taking care of all this?
No, I was just waiting for if there was any questions or anything before kicking off. All right, so challenges and current opportunity. So our primary challenges here, and I'm not going to bore you guys to death with reading you the PowerPoint slide that you can see, but it basically boils down to lack of competition, expensive service, in school, work, homework gap, and seniors, and lack of universal coverage. And our current opportunity is currently the fiber county. We have existing fiber here within the county that runs basically through the core of the county that we can utilize for this opportunity. There are economic opportunity zones that we can get specialized tax incentives and tax dollars for expanding that fiber into those areas. And the county does have a plan that exists. It is a plan. That's about as far as that plan goes.
So we have a question here that says, if satellite is slow, why not use the old phone wires? Why not use dial-up or DSL?
You want me to take that one?
Sure.
So, as satellite is slow, why not go through old phone wires? Old phone wires are old. They are extremely old. And they are not capable of pushing the bandwidth required for broadband. There just isn't enough copper there, and the way that the copper is wound and twisted plays into a fact that I'm getting very technical there. You just can't push them past what they're currently capable of with DSL. They're just not capable of it. All right, so lack of competition, what it basically comes down to is number of fiber and cable providers. As you can see here, most of this area here in the map, which is the entire county, correct?
Yeah.
Comes down to, unless you're in one of the populous areas, the well-developed areas, you have one choice of internet provider, and in a few areas you have more than two, but those are very, very few and far between, as you can see.
And also the reason why we chose not to show DSL is that DSL is already an antiquated technology and can't be upgraded any further than 100 megabits. So we chose to exclude that. Wireless in McHenry County is not an effective, cost-effective competition. So it's pretty much only cable and fiber that are really equal competitors. With the increasing demand on bandwidth, only cable and fiber is going to be able to meet that demand. 5G isn't, because millimeter wave just won't make the distance. It's just not going to make it, and even then, that is still shared. So that's the reason why we chose this as to show the lack of competition.
So that is what is there is extremely expensive. If you pay your own internet bill, you know that. I particularly out here in Under Lake pay about what we're seeing there on that list in Comcast Xfinity. So Spectrum and Charter and AT&T Fiber and all those are extremely expensive. When we look towards areas that have done community-owned fiber, it is significantly less expensive for the individuals to get their internet access for comparable or even faster rates. I'll just pull Comcast Xfinity 300 megabits at $90 versus 250 for 48 over in Admin, Ohio, or 250 for 65 at Utopia Fiber. Or we're looking at where is it? They don't even have a 300 share. 1,000 for 92. For $2 more, you get more than double. And then Fiber Run, that's in Linden Township, and then RS Fiber, again, they don't even bother with the 300 tier. It's $100 for 1,000 megabits, or gigabit, if you will, speed. So no bandwidth caps, no additional fees for going over those caps would be, is what we're seeing with a lot of these community-owned fiber areas.
Just one thing before we move forward. So while we're showcasing the best that could be offered to members within the community, the reality is satellite is super expensive compared to everything else. Larry has satellite, and he, it's not based on how much speed you get. It's based on how much bandwidth you want to use, and all satellites like that. And wireless is wireless. It's much better than satellite. So if you can get it, that's great. But of course, the next tier up is cable in DSL, and after that's fiber, and the fiber is the top of the list. So we just try to showcase the most common expensive service here in McHenry County.
So, I mean, this is the exact same map as before, but this is kind of driving home the exact point of there's lack of universal coverage when it comes down to it. You've got huge, gigantic areas where there is, one or none ISPs in the area, unless you are in one of those well-developed, kind of more urban, less rural areas, such as Woodstock or Crystal Lake or Harvard. So, a homework app is an important thing that when it comes to internet access for everyone. So much of today's schooling is done through online processes, either through accessing those books through an iPad or a Chromebook at home or at school. Basically, what it boils down to is that you have children who don't have access to either sufficient or any internet at home, who wind up having to go to Starbucks or the parking lot of McDonald's, or sit in the McDonald's drive-thru, or not drive-thru, but dining room, or go to the library in order to be able to complete their homework assignments. They're not able to do them at home. This creates an additional burden on top of all the other things that need to be done in the evening when the children are home, food, school, and work and everything else like that the parents are involved in. as well as if it's a single parent home working 2 jobs, getting out to those areas are very, very difficult. So as you can see, we've got a couple of homework gap things, highlighting checking grades, homeworks, research, all those different areas that we have, and many school-aged children in households without high-speed internet. In fact, when it comes down to it, just recently due to the COVID-19 situation, when it comes down to it with the COVID-19 situation, we just had
Sorry, you segued into COVID, so I just went straight to the.
Right, I was just going to mention really quick. Don't worry about it. When it comes down to the COVID-19 situation, we had some information up that the Crystal Lake school districts were talking about handing out MiFis to 68 students in order to be able to continue learning while they were on their lockdown. And that's the principals of the schools were asked to assess what students they felt would need those.
And Larry, you want to pipe in here real quick for Harvard District?
Yeah, I know in the Harvard District, as far as the school district is concerned, they have Wi-Fi available to the students. Many of the students are rural. One of the issues they have that I discovered recently was that the library shuts their Wi-Fi off when they close their doors. So many of the students can't even utilize going to the library in order to connect up to Wi-Fi. While they were offered these units, it's essentially up to the student or the parents of the student to request the units in order for them to connect to the Wi-Fi. And I don't know at this point, it's unclear if there was much follow-up with those students to see whether or not they actually were capable of connecting up and getting their homework done.
And all that, this data that we have from Crystal Lake is incomplete. At Crystal Lake, the most affluent community in McHenry County, shouldn't have any students that don't have internet or sufficient internet home. Shouldn't have any. So the number of households that we have in McHenry County that are impacted by this, we're not entirely sure, but we believe it's much higher than the national average due to a number of different statistics that are out there. And so Larry's going to take it away with talking about COVID-19 and talking about the seniors.
Yeah, the seniors amount to about 14.6% of McHenry County residents, approximately 45,000. Rural broadband internet connection in the rural areas can be spotty, slow, expensive, or simply non-existent. And while the FCC defines high-speed internet to be 25 megabytes per second, which includes HughesNet, which is what I have, the reality is much slower. When attempting to stream videos or movies, the reality is in the hundreds of kilobytes, not megabytes. And you remember the average speed for fixed broadband is 96.25 megabytes per second to 32.88 megabytes per second, which is more akin to broadband. So in rural areas where you have poor internet, you find people gather in parking lots, as we mentioned before, in order to take advantage of Wi-Fi. They can do this at colleges, they can do it at the libraries. We don't even have a Starbucks to utilize out here in Harvard, but there is Wi-Fi at the McDonald's. The COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated this situation because it isolates not only the students, but the seniors out here in the rural areas. many seniors don't have computers. It's hard for some of the tech people to understand that at this point, but they never connected up with needing the computers in their life. And they just, right now, they simply can't afford it in a retirement situation as well. So many of them are limited, if they're lucky enough to have a tablet or a smartphone, an actual smartphone, they are even more isolated now because they're restricted to their residence out in the rural areas, and simply all they can do is utilize the telephone, maybe texting if they have that capability. And so it is a situation right now that is that seniors being that isolated, it increases depression and their quality of life.
I just want to make a mention that we,
David?
somebody actually reached out to us, one of the county board members working with a local nonprofit, actually reached out to us and wanted to see if we could help with getting more devices into seniors' hands because of the whole COVID-19 thing. So there clearly is a need if there are some nonprofits that are trying to get some devices into seniors' hands. But the benefits of having this connectivity is exactly what Larry has talked about, which is mental stimulation, social, telehealth, and transportation. So, just a quick thing about this smartphone among seniors. Statistically, the top line is for all adults, and then of course the bottom line is for adults that are 65 plus. And so there is a big gap between the most of the population and the seniors. And if we get a little bit more detailed, which is here, we actually see that broadband is greatly different for people that have a certain amount of education and of course are more affluent, with a significant number of people under in McHenry County kind of falling within that 30 to 50 range. That means statistically there is a significant amount of people that don't have broadband at home and are probably only using cellular. And then we can see that.
Hey, Dave?
Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I was just reading an article recently in Wisconsin. They have a little, there was an article expressing that only 43% of rural residents have high-speed internet. So there's about 43% of the rural residents lack high-speed internet. So even with the computers, they have limited connection to the community.
Mike, go ahead.
Oh, you're saying to me, go ahead? All right. So we do have a question from Steve asking about Starlink for solving these problems. Starlink is very much in its infancy. I think that it would be a phenomenal stopgap for areas as they progress towards fiber, personally. What it basically comes down to is that Starlink is still, in theory, it's still a conceptual attempt at getting that satellite from a lower orbit to those locations, and in rural areas. I think it'll be a huge boon, as well as in developing countries. But ultimately, a hard line is always going to be far superior to any sort of radio transmission, simply because it is not as affected by atmospheric conditions or anything else like that.
Thanks, Mike. And just to wrap it up with the challenges section, the customer service for a lot of the companies that we get our internet from is worse for the airline industry, the banks, and the insurance company, and with some dealing, they're actually worse for the IRS. in a lot of ways, and the IRS is not a well-loved institution. So we're going to go ahead and play a video real quick. We're going to play the homework app video, which describes the difference of the digital divide in the homework space. And this video really showcases that really well. Go ahead, Carrie.
Three, 2, 7, 9.
That is correct.
How did you know this?
Welcome to today's academic challenge. You may only use what's on your table. There will be 3 rounds, and the questions will get harder. What is the largest animal living today? Team A.
Blue whale.
Team B.
Blue whale.
That is correct. What is the square root of 144?
12.
12.
Correct again.
India.
India. Neil Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong.
William
William
Shakespeare.
Correct. We are tied. For round 2, we're going to give both teams some additional resources.
Okay.
Who was the first president to live in the White House?
John Adams.
That is correct.
Oh my God, bro. Come on.
What does the acronym LCD stand for?
Liquid crystal display.
Correct.
Go with it. Just go with it.
Sargasso Sea.
That's correct.
8 minutes and 20 seconds.
Correct.
Samuel Morse.
Correct.
Denver, Colorado. Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Salt Lake City, Utah.
That is correct. Let's pull back the curtain.
Are you kidding me? That's so not cool. But I'm offended.
We're having a little bit of technical difficulties here, guys, folks, so our apologies. From Eberhard, he says, in regards to the devices for seniors, he knows that the senior network in Crystal Lake is taking those devices. They are on East Street next to the food pantry. So if you have a device, please, donate it. But please share only 4G devices, no 3G devices. A lot of networks aren't taking 3G devices anymore, including Verizon. But Mike, did you want to add on to that?
Add on to devices being donated?
Yeah. Sorry, never mind. Okay. Do we have? How are we doing on the other video, Dakota County video? I think we're trying to get our stream back up and running for the Facebook streamers. It's working great in the meeting if you're in the Zoom meeting here, but we're having a little bit difficulties for YouTube and Facebook.
just move on? We can get those videos in there in a little bit later.
Yeah, Carrie, let's go ahead and let's just proceed with the presentation, and we'll come back to that video the next round. So go ahead and if you can make me share. I guess I'll share my screen. Sorry. Okay, can you see my screen, everybody? Okay, let's move along. So as a summary of our challenges, we have a lack of competition. We have expensive service, lack of universal coverage. Children in the homework gap really contribute to, which follows them throughout in their entire life. And of course, the seniors and our customer service is worse than what the IRS. So the next one is the current opportunity. So we do have a public fiber optic network here in McHenry County. And so back in 2013, with what we're calling the consortium, the McHenry County Fiber Broadband Consortium, which is a government cooperative, laid 15 miles of fiber between 21 different sites of McHenry County College, the city of Woodstock, the Woodstock District 200, the county itself, and the Emergency Telephone System Board. And so they are a government cooperative. It is not a purely county asset. It is a government cooperative where they all pay in and they all maintain it and they all work together to keep that fiber network on. But this is the network. This is the network they own. You can see it starts at MCC at one corner, and it goes up to Erickson Park, and it goes down to one of the schools down in south of the conservation area, and all the way north to Woodstock North. And this is the broader fiber network, which it comes up from iFiber and Illinois Central Network. It comes up to MCC. It goes straight down around the road. You can actually, if you're looking down it on the west side and you see fiber poles along the road, that is most likely Illinois Central Network, which has hooked up all the way up to our network. Conceivably, we could use those same conduits, and of course, and hook up all kinds of customers along the way along that fiber network. We're going to talk a little bit about the opportunity we have with the Harbor Economic Opportunity Zone, and I'll give that to Larry.
Yeah, Harvard currently has the only opportunity zone up here in McHenry County. And this is a particularly great advantage for investment for the Harvard area if they can get companies to come in and invest. If they take earnings that they owe capital gains on, the capital gains are waived if they invest into one of these opportunity zones. And once the profits are created in the opportunity zone, they do not have to pay taxes on that profit. So it's a great tool to attract investment. One of the problems, if you're trying to put in a server farm, is you need fiber optic connections. And right now we do not have fiber optic connections up here in that area. It's in the Chemung area of Harvard. So this is the type of investment that we currently need in order to get the economy moving up here in Harvard. So far, over the last decade, we've had very little growth. We've had a few things come into Harvard. One of them being, a Burger King was built in there, and we had another fast food company come in. But that's not real economic growth. That's serving the community. It's not growing the community. So we haven't had many homes built over the last decade. I'd say if we had 6 or 8 houses built over the last 10 years, that would be a lot.
Thank you, Larry. There was a plan that was created. McHenry County did create a broadband plan back in 2011. They it was a countywide fiber plan. And basically, we call it the foundation. And we call it the foundation is because it basically covers what you could do to get everybody broadband in McHenry County. I mean, fiber is nearly unlimited, so you could conceivably use this network to hook up everybody in McHenry County. So, and it was a countywide fiber plan, 210 connections, 288 miles of fiber, government buildings, schools, businesses, and other community institutions. It's a really great plan, and it was priced at about $30 million, which in comparison, roads are really expensive. But fiber is a really inexpensive infrastructure compared to the other pieces of infrastructure that are there, and the economic benefits are just, they're really strong, and they present a lot of great benefits. And so, but is there any future plans? You can tell from the picture, but there's nothing in the county budget. There has been almost no discussions at the county level. There's nothing in the Woodstock budget. And as far as we can tell, there's been very little discussions throughout the community. Probably about 6 months ago, we did get a call from the village of Bull Valley, but that hasn't gone anywhere either. So, but there is nearly a complete lack of leadership on this at all levels. There is some new leadership at the state level with, I think his name is Matt Smith from the Minnesota. Minnesota's got a really vibrant broadband development group that's going on, and so we have a new person at the state level at the broadband development office. But in general, there is just a complete lack of leadership on this at the local level, the county level, and a little bit at the state level for a while there. So, and that's the solution. And Carrie, can we try a video again? How about we try the Dakota County one?
Keep moving. I'm working on getting video going from my end.
Okay, good. Let's go ahead and keep going. So, the solution. The solution is fiber optics to everyone. It's the best there is. It's instant uploads and downloads. It's competition online. So while fiber optics is an expensive infrastructure, we still want to balance that monopolistic type tendency, economic tendency, but bring in competition online. So that means businesses will fight for your business. They will fight for your, to keep your business. And finally, it's designed to keep costs low, and it's owned by you, like an electric cooperative. There are 25% of all electricity in the United States is delivered by cooperatives, and 25% is because it's out there because the companies at the time, back in the turn of the century, would not do it out there because it wasn't profitable fast enough. And it is profitable because the cooperatives have survived for nearly 100 years at this point. And we don't want it to be government controlled. We can't trust our government to hold on to assets and maintain assets at this point. And we don't want this to be privately owned. If we're going to use, God forbid, taxpayer money, or there's an investment that's going to be done by you to bring it to your house, it should be owned by you. It should not be owned by a private business. You shouldn't have to subsidize their profits. And so if you guys have been paying attention, this is one of the graphics that we have. It's basically just everything I just said. But why fiber optics? Fiber optics is the gold standard. It's what connects the world together it connects the world together. It's what they use. They don't use satellite in special cases, but for the most part, it's fiber optics that connect the entire world. And to boot that, they're using lasers in space to connect between, between craft and some places. But it's basically fiber optics is strands of glass with lasers on it. So, which is great because that means you can do multiple color lasers Whereas with electricity, there's frequency differences, but however, the copper is really limited. Whereas copper is a lot more expansive, and that means it's nearly unlimited amount of bandwidth. And it will last, it's long lasting for decades, and it's built for the future. At least 30 years the fiber optics will last. We don't know for sure. Even Corning, who was the original creator of this, has no idea how long fiber is going to last, because there's still fiber being used from the 1970s. And so that's nearly 50 years of fiber that's still being used today. And the second principle is free market principles. Infrastructure like this is inherently monopolistic. It's far more cost effective to have one line that goes to every house. And much like electricity, it's better just to have one line that comes to your house and provides all your electricity. It's great to have one water pipe that comes to your house. It's more cost effective that way. But the problem with that is that it has the tendency to cause what we have, which is, our telecom and cable companies, which they don't compete. They don't want to compete. They're comfortable. They don't innovate. They don't do any of that. And how we combine monopolistic tendencies with free market principles, this is how we do it. It's called open access. And that means many businesses will fight for your business. They will compete on price, they will compete on service, they will do on connectivity, they will, and the great part about this is that we can take any displaced businesses that we displace here in McHenry County, from like Evergent to any of the smaller DSL companies, and they can actually come onto the network and continue to provide internet connectivity, and a far superior technology. And since they already have the customer service infrastructure, they already have the tech support, they're already equipped to be able to move along and to do that. And of course, this allows them to innovate, to offer different kinds of products, as different types of services. Right now, the other companies have no incentive to do that. And this combines the best of both worlds. And so what model exactly are we talking about? So we talked about a nonprofit cooperative. And the idea is this would serve as a kind of a firewall, a protection around the entity that owns the assets. If they own the assets, they're firewalled. Their primary focus is to provide this. They have no other purpose. Their only purpose is to deal with the infrastructure, to deal with the fiber that there is, which makes it hyper-focused. And we don't have to worry about different townships and different villages and different places all having their own different teams. So, and the great thing is that it's shared services. So it's one entity, they take care of the entire fiber. Instead of having a number of different entities do it, you have one entity that does it. And they're still represented. So like, any government entity that decides to get onto the network would do that. Farms would have a membership. Everybody would be able to have a vote. So one household, one vote kind of thing. And the idea is to keep the profits within it. There are some electric cooperatives around the country that are actually delivering dividends because they're generating money, and they don't need to reinvest that into their infrastructure because their infrastructure is up to date and everything's good to go. I mean, how incredible that would be. Imagine you being an owner of Comcast and actually the profit comes back to you. But you can actually do that here at the local level. And the idea is to keep costs low. If it were to be owned by the government, God knows what they would do with all the extra money that's coming in. It just go off to the four winds and we wouldn't know what happens to it. So this means it stays in there and it keeps costs low, because eventually that infrastructure is going to have to be paid off. And what happens to the money when it gets paid off, right? So that means that your bill will go down. And so the idea is protected from the government. It's not subject to the political winds of selling out parking meters or red light cameras or the Skyway or the lottery system or any of that. It's protected. It's yours. It's in your focus to protect us and provide a service that we need. And so why community owned? It's not going to be solved by the private sector. They have had tons of incentives, even within the most recent tax bill and even the COVID-19 thing. We're getting huge subsidies in the millions to help with their, but, they've been given deregulation, they've been given additional prices, they even get out of Connect America Fund, which arguably the Connect America Fund isn't being held accountable to some of the companies. Centrelink has been a huge purveyor of basically saying, hey, we're going to deliver this great connectivity, but we're not, they don't. And at the end of the day, the FCC is using taxpayer money, is using our money to subsidize private companies' profits, which is not effective use. And they're not requiring fiber optics either. So that's another problem, is that we're using this money to basically try to only offer technology that is up 25 megabits. So that means they're actually still advocating for the to use money to spread DSL. But DSL is an old technology, and that's a real issue. And the list goes on. There's a book out there that is the broadband scandal, the $400 billion broadband scandal, that goes into heavy financial detail about how they're doing it and how they're getting away with it. Like, for example, more recently, that same author has been talking about, that the cellular companies like AT&T and Verizon have been taking profits from their landline business, from their phone line business, and funneling it into their cellular business. So they're not even taking that same money and actually investing it in the infrastructure they currently have. So, like, they just absolutely refuse to compete. They refuse to expand. And it's not, of course, that's not absolute, but it is in general. AT&T over the last 5 years has laid off 10,000 fiber installers. They have gotten rid of their Huntsville fiber division, pretty much. They just refuse to expand. Statistically, even the cable companies refuse to compete with each other. And like I said, they refuse to invest. Frontier's going bankrupt. Frontier has all these assets and they've never invested. AT&T is not doing anything. In some places they are, like in Woodstock, they on the poles. In some places they have laid fiber, but McHenry County in general, it doesn't have a whole lot of fiber. It just doesn't. I think it's 0.5%. I think it is, but it's not that many. So why community owned? Complete coverage. When we say everyone, we don't stutter. Even Marengo Township or Alden Township or some of these townships where people have a half-a-mile long driveway, they deserve to have fiber. They deserve to have internet connectivity. And community owned will give you better service because of the open market idea. People will try to keep your business, or they'll make it really easy. And so there will be more choices, many choices. Utopia Fiber, we showed, they have at least 8 businesses to choose from. 8 businesses. And it's designed to keep the costs low. And the challenges that we have will not be solved by the private sector. Just one more, just to drive this point home. Steve Reich, Representative Steve Reich, actually tried to work with Comcast and AT&T for a bunch of folks right outside of Woodstock, and they're maybe 2,000 feet away from the hub for the cable. They refuse to expand that network. They refuse to hook up those homes over on Rose Farm Road. They refuse to do it. They won't do it because it's not profitable fast enough. This is just a problem that is not going to be solved by the private sector, and 5G is not going to do it either. But the benefits are just numerous. We will save hundreds of dollars a year by switching to that. Some of the examples we show is that a gigabit for $50 a month, with taxes, mind you. So that's service and taxes, property taxes put together, $50 a month. You can't beat that. Faster internet. You're most likely going to get faster than what you have. More choices. More choices than one? Yeah, you're going to have more choices than one. Connectivity to everyone. Future-proof. So maybe a gig's not enough, maybe in 10 years, maybe you need 10 gig for holograms and VR and all the stuff we're doing. Or cloud gaming. Cloud gaming is becoming a big thing on Steam and everything. If we have the connectivity to do it, you don't even need to have maybe video cards anymore at home. But it's economic development. If we have the fiber, then places like the Harvard Economic Opportunity Zone can actually build out and bring businesses in. But not only that, it can grow our existing businesses. With COVID-19, a lot of businesses are struggling because they're closed. If they had an online presence, it would really help to keep them their head above water. It increases home values. So the Fiber Broadband Association has said that fiber optics increases home values by I think $5,000. So versus homes that don't. So if we want to compete against Lake County, Kane County, and Cook County, this is a way to do it. This is how to drive those home values home. And educational benefits for kids and adults. We've talked about the homework gap. There wouldn't be that. Work from home, no bandwidth caps. Right now, there is no bandwidth caps for some ISP providers, but like satellite, there's still bandwidth caps. For wireless, there's still bandwidth caps. For cellular, for some people's plans, it's still there. And there's throttling that goes along with that. Bait and switch. They changed the terms. Pray they don't alter the deal further. Net neutrality. If we have our own network, we get to dictate how our privacy is and how that works. Local control, it's controlled by us. And, if everything goes well, like economic development and more jobs, that means less property taxes. There's a reason why we have one of the highest property taxes in the county, in the state, is because we just don't have enough business to be able to do that. Cook County, on average, each homeowner pays less taxes than we do. I don't know the exact statistic, but I've seen it, and it's because they just get a lot more money from businesses and industry. But there is telemedicine, there's virtual reality, self-driving cars, and automation in the farming, and there's just a whole load of extra benefit things. So, and this is the foundation for the future. And so I want to answer a few questions right now. So Eberhard is saying, how about a petition in addition to a survey? We did consider a petition as a possible avenue, but we felt that the survey was a much better use of our time to focus that energy. Essentially, we have a detailed, if you take the survey, we have a detailed profile of what kind of problems you're having. And it gives us a lot more information than the petition does. So, but we're not asking for to answer the other question, which is he asks, is that can we ask people to pledge money for the project, for the fiber project? We're not the entity that's going to be the one who's actually going to build this. And so what we're actually looking for is members, for you to join, and also for you to support us, so we can get more survey responses. Any support you can give, if you're able, would be greatly appreciated. You can go by going to our website, ifmc.co. In the middle section there should be a support page, or you can go up and say support, join us, support us at the top as well. But the process. So there is a defined process for how to get this done. And of course, we established a vision, which is the 3 points that we have: fiber everyone, competition, co-op. We reviewed the community assets, which is the existing fiber assets we have in Woodstock and along Randall Road. And we are here. We are doing it right now. Educate, build support, and build a business case. The survey, another reason why the survey is much more powerful than the petition, is because it builds the business case. It shows that people actually want this. And if you actually take the question, we ask you, are you willing to pay property taxes for this to get the benefits that we've talked about? And, I'm not going to say what the results are, but please take the survey. And the survey is how we build that business case. And a petition can't do that. And eventually that leads to the feasibility study to say, hey, is this actually feasible based on the survey data we have? And we get an expert to actually run through that. And then that leads to the engineering study, which is to actually spec out the fiber, spec out the hardware, spec out where it's going to go, how is it going to work, what is it going to cost. In previous presentations, we've answered the question, how much is this going to cost? We don't know. We don't know exactly. We have estimates, estimates of somewhere between, I want to say, 100 to 200 million is somewhere in there for every single person in McHenry County to get that. Whereas in contrast, while that seems like a lot of money, the county actually apparently has reduced the levy by 30 million a year. So, the county could have, paid this easily, could have done this easily to build this network. And of course, that financing, once you do a referendum, maybe you do a referendum, you ask people to say, hey, you want to pay for this, you want to do this, and of course that leads to financing and then implementation. From the point of financing to implementation to fiber to your home, the best case scenario is 18 months. That is the best case scenario. How do we know this? Because Longmont, Colorado, with like 100,000 people, built their fiber network in 18 months. Every single person, they did it, and they did it with a referendum. They had to do it a couple times, but nonetheless, they did it. What's up, Mike? Sorry, I'll keep going. But 18 months, and so the phase that we're in depends on how much money we have, we get to get the survey, to get it done. We will talk about what our goals are and how fast do we want to get there, and that largely depends on the leadership. If we had leadership, it would be a whole lot easier. And the bill supporting the case is the survey. It's the survey. It's to get the word out about what we're trying to do. Talk about what we're trying to do. Educate people that we need these critical infrastructure. COVID-19 should really show that. And if not, you only have to ask yourself, is really only having one entity, which is unregulated, who isn't regulated, to provide your internet and they can do whatever they want, is that the right thing we want to do? I mean, I can go to Jewel and I can pick up 9 different things of mustard. Why can't I have 9 different providers of broadband? I just don't understand that. And so, before we move on to the next one, we do have some videos. So how about we do the Dakota County one? And thank you for all your questions. This is really great. So keep them coming. Do I have to give it to you? How do we do that? I'm not the host. Somebody pass the ball to Mike. Okay, I'll stop the share. Figured it out. There's so many different systems out there, conferencing systems.
The internet has changed our lives, and the changes will keep on coming. Minnesota's Tom Friedman, New York Times columnist and author of The World is Flat, has said that because of the power of the internet, whatever can be done, will be done. Friedman adds that the real question is, who will get to do it? Some people in some places will innovate and reap the rewards of that innovation, while others will play catch-up. If we want to ensure that Dakota County remains a place where innovation happens, one of the most important steps we can take is to build on our base of high-skilled, high-wage knowledge workers. But Dakota County will not be a community that grows, attracts, and retains those knowledge workers without next-generation broadband, NGBB. What's next-generation broadband? It's the technology that will allow us to download and upload information at speeds much faster than those currently possible with DSL or cable. Almost no one in Dakota County has next-generation broadband. In fact, according to a recent report, the U.S. is 18th in the world in average available internet download speed. But download speed is only half of the picture. To be competitive internationally, we also need faster upload speeds. And America's upload speeds are even slower. For example, with today's typical DSL connection, it would take 4.5 hours to upload a 10-minute video from a high-definition camera. Next generation broadband can do it in a few minutes and will deliver many other capabilities.
We have a need for next generation fiber optics and internet service. We have industry coming to our cities looking for that type of amenity. Having the ability to contact the world in a fraction of a second makes a big difference to companies who have a large amount of data which they wish to share worldwide.
We have a data center in downtown Minneapolis. We have probably 10 million electronic patient records down there. We're serving 650 emergency medical states, cities, or services. We probably have about 850 other corporate kind of customers down there. None of that can really be done in Lakeville because of just the gross lack of bandwidth.
All 6,000 of the people that work here are connected to a network. They have access to our data storage, our applications, things that they do in their routine day. When they go home, whether they live in Dakota County or not, wherever they live, it would be terrific for us to be able to have them access the same applications that they use in the office at their house. Working from home allows businesses some flexibility to give employees so that they can take care of children, perhaps parents that are aging at home.
Next Generation 911 is going to involve a lot more data sources coming to the dispatch centers in addition to the traditional phone call with the information and location data we get today. We're going to start receiving text messages, videos, still pictures. We have to turn it into actionable information for our field users, and that's going to require a lot of capacity to handle the data and manage it.
Ultra high speed and the access to have that on a broad basis, a wide basis across the entire county, offers a lot of opportunities. I'll use the recent pandemic situation we had. We would have had large, significant numbers, if not our total student population, no longer in school. They would have been at home. Now, think about how we've been able to continue their educational programs if they had broadband access in their homes.
Putting next-generation broadband in homes is a major issue for the U.S. because the equipment and technology currently available to most homes are not capable of operating at next-generation broadband speeds.
When it's a Saturday morning and all the kids are home, and my wife is doing something, one of us are watching TV at the same time, I may be doing video editing and transmitting the video to my server here at work. Having a couple of high-definition TVs in the house going at the same time will slow things down.
One proven way to give every family member simultaneous, fast, next-generation broadband without slowing any of them down is to bring this critical infrastructure into each home.
With fiber optics, messages can be sent very quickly, and indeed, just as we have a telephone conversation now, we could have one face-to-face with our grandchildren. Would be very nice, and I would do that. I would learn how to do that.
Grandparents and grandchildren, teachers and students, even doctors and patients will find important new ways to use next-generation broadband.
I'll give you a good example of why I think online care would make a difference. So you've got a doctor's office that's filled with patients in January. Okay, so it happens to snow. If somebody couldn't make it, the opportunity actually for that provider to go online and actually see patients online and not disturb the rhythm of anything, it uses their time more efficiently.
Next generation broadband will bring many benefits to Dakota County. It will be an engine for economic development and will create jobs. It will allow us to quickly upload and download large work files, whether at work or home. It will also allow us to download high-definition movies and games in seconds and utilize emerging applications. It will help to control medical costs and improve medical services. It will transform how we educate both children and adults and make family teleconferencing an everyday occurrence. And because of all these possibilities, it will reduce energy consumption by eliminating some travel. But if Dakota County does not have next-generation broadband, these economic and social benefits will go to people in other places who do have next-generation broadband. So please, discuss this issue with your neighbors, internet providers, business associates, and public officials. Insist that we need strategies at the city, county, state, and federal levels. Demand to be part of next-generation broadband. Our future depends on it.
We got one more video that we're going to do, and that will be, let's choose, what was the first video? Let's go and play that next video, Mike. Thanks.
Once upon a time, our dial-up connections were enough. As the demand increased, so did the supply. We had DSL and cable. But the colossal DSL and cable corporations monopolize access to the internet, and today's needs can't be met by yesterday's service. Some forward-thinking groups around the country have built community-owned broadband networks that are better equipped to anticipate the needs of tomorrow. Owned by cooperatives, nonprofits, or local governments, they put community needs first. It's simple. Community broadband networks are great for consumers and local economies. Not only are they crazy fast, but they keep our money in our communities. They create much-needed jobs. They connect schools to the world without breaking the budget. They take control out of the hands of distant corporate executives and put control into the hands of the local residents and businesses. They provide competition and real choices where the private sector has not. These networks need your support, or they will be crushed by the big corporations. Big cable and DSL companies want states to make it impossible for communities to build their own networks. That's a decision that should be made locally. So let your elected officials know that you support local self-determination. Don't let big cable make any more decisions for you.
All right, let's go ahead and get back to this, to the presentation. Like I said, please let us know if you do have any questions in either Facebook or in the chat here, in the question answer. So thank you for that, Mike. So we had a board retreat earlier this year, at the beginning of the year, to try to set up the goals of what should we try to get done. And so we have an ambitious goal of trying to get 5,000 surveys by October 1st. Our goal is 5,000 surveys because that's about the amount that you need to have for having a petition on the actual, sorry, I'm spacing out here, for actual to have an actual a referendum. And so, and also the good thing is that with 5,000 surveys, it is statistically significant and it covers a significant percentage of the county. And so, and it's our goal is to get it by October 1st. And so how we're going to do that is we're going to do it by continuing to advertise the survey. We do have some goals to, we're doing Facebook group postings. You might have seen some of it out there. But you'll see the ads we have out there that we're doing, which is why we need your support. We will be, of course, enhancing that in the newsletters to let you know about what's going on. But we are trying to create videos. One of those videos that we have created just recently is the what is internet freedom, and that's actually an ad that's actually out right now, letting people know what internet freedom is. We do have a number of other videos, but we have to re-record them. But the one of the big goals is to grow the membership. We would like for you to become a member. And it's not required for you to be a member for you to donate, but if we're looking for actual members to help us direct, the organization in a way that makes us the most effective. But we do need volunteers. I know with the COVID-19 thing that makes it a little bit harder, but eventually this will be lifted,
and we will need to be going out and talking to people, going door to door, handing out flyers. At the very least, sharing the survey, let people know. So even if, maybe making phone calls, there's a lot of opportunities there. But we have so many accomplishments over the last 2 years on this. We created an online survey, which serves as the foundation for us, doing what we're doing, and of course to actually build the business case to what this is. We built a really fantastic website with numerous volunteers. Some of them are on this line right now. We built an entire IT infrastructure, which is from like WordPress to a chat system to a survey system, a marketing type system. We have tons of media content we put together. You see some of our ads. We have plenty of pictures, plenty of media. We have a great learning section of the website, which teaches you all kinds about different things from 5G to what is fiber and so much. We've done so much. We've held numerous public meetings. That was more of a 2019 thing, but it is something that we might bring back once COVID-19 comes back. At the very least, we'll probably be doing some online meetings similar to what we're doing today. We've had numerous one-on-ones with elected officials, administrators, and more, which contributed to the fact that we needed to officially incorporate because we didn't like the responses that we were getting. Lackadaisical attitude that we were getting from elected officials. And so that means we adopted bylaws, we incorporated, we opened a bank account, we created a membership structure. We have a senior discount, we have a student discount, we have regular members, we have family membership, and we have a support page to make it easier to join our efforts and help us, because we do need support, we can't do it alone. And so we made some videos, as we talked about. We made one video, so we're hoping to do more. More recently, we did a video on April updates, which tells you kind of what we've accomplished so far. Maybe we'll make one of those and break through that. And we've gotten 380 responses, which doesn't sound like a lot in a drop in the pool of 5,000, but it is a step in the right direction. We figure is that as more people take the survey, that'll lead to more people sharing the survey, letting their family members know, letting their other friends know that, hey, there's this really cool thing we're trying to do here. We're trying to get cheaper, faster internet for everyone, and please take the survey. Let us know what your opinion is. It doesn't have to be just negative. It can be positive. It can be neutral. We need your opinion, and your opinion does matter. And there's so many more accomplishments. And I'm personally really proud of our board and what we've accomplished so far, and we're hoping to do a lot more. We're hoping to achieve our things and do what we need to do. So, how to get involved? And I'm gonna take this over with Brett. Your turn.
We got that last video to play, so we'll play that video and then I'll go.
If you live in the United States, you almost certainly pay too much for your broadband access to the internet, probably to a huge company headquartered in New York or Texas. Your connection costs more and delivers less than those in peer nations in Europe and Asia, and they have more choices among service providers. However, you are almost certainly limited to access from a single cable company and a phone company. Needing faster, more affordable, more reliable, and universal access to the internet, some communities have set out to build their own broadband networks. We decided to compare the broadband plans from community fiber networks in North Carolina to the big incumbent cable and telco packages. The advertised download speeds are on the horizontal axis, and the advertised upload speeds are on the vertical axis. The bigger the bubble, the more expensive your bill. We start with Centrelink, which offers DSL in much of North Carolina. Like most DSL and cable, the upload speeds are much slower than the download speeds. AT&T's DSL service is similar to Centrelink. Slow upload speeds are a killer for businesses who cannot be as productive as competitors served by modern, more reliable, affordable, and fast connections. As we chart higher speed services, we have to zoom out to show the faster connections. The AT&T U-verse is a more advanced DSL, offering higher capacity connections, but AT&T only offers it in select areas. Because cable connections are much faster than DSL, we're going to have to zoom out again to chart them. Here we show Time Warner Cable's best packages, which is still not available to all communities in the state. But for those who have it, the connections are much faster than DSL. Don't forget that on a cable network, you rarely achieve the advertised speeds. As we zoom further out to accommodate the much faster packages available from the community fiber optic networks, take a look at how all those incumbents stack up. The city of Wilson built Greenlight, a modern fiber-to-the-home network. And now, Fibrant from the city of Salisbury. The community fiber networks are not only faster and less expensive than the incumbents, they are far more reliable than the older DSL and cable networks. We decided to overlay nearby Chattanooga's community fiber network, the best citywide broadband network in the country, as a comparison. Because Chattanooga built its own network, they could decide to offer the fastest connections available in the U.S. Boom! Now that's globally competitive, unlike the services offered over cable and DSL. North Carolina is not unique. Community networks and cable or DSL networks have a similar dynamic throughout the country. Unfortunately, massive companies like AT&T and Comcast have used their vast lobbying power to convince a number of states to create new barriers against local authority to build these networks. But at a time when fast, affordable, and reliable access to the internet has become essential for communities to thrive, how can anyone tell a community they have no right to build a network? Shouldn't everyone have the opportunity to build a world-class network as they did in Lafayette, Louisiana? Of course it should. States should allow communities to decide for themselves without onerous barriers devised by cable and phone companies that simply don't want to compete against more providers. Congress and the FCC should ensure states cannot preempt this essential local authority.
Okay.
Hold on real quick. Just other communities around, even in Illinois here, have actually implemented their own fiber optic networks. Most notably, it would be Highland, Illinois, Rockwell, Illinois, and Champaign, Urbana. So I'll go ahead and let Brett take it away. Thanks, Brett.
All right, to let you all know, our monthly meetings occur on the fourth Sunday of every month. Times are usually to be determined, but they're usually around 2:30 in the afternoon. Website is ifmc.co. There you'll find the links for memberships, donations, the survey, speed testing, about us, and everything else. Currently we have 9 members, business and personal. Facebook page is facebook.com/IF McHenry. IF McHenry. We have a YouTube page, newsletter. We have 400 subscribers. The most important thing that we can have you do personally would be to share that survey. Take that link, copy it, put it on your Facebook, send it to your friends in emails. Do whatever it takes to get that word out. The more people we have, obviously we want to get to 5,000, but obviously if we have 10,000, that would be even better. So yeah, at this point, just if you can help share and get the word out, that's what we really need right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Brett. So in summary, we're at the end of our meeting here. The summary is that we're here to advocate for community-owned broadband, and we're making progress. We are making progress, and with your help, we can make even more progress. We need this infrastructure. COVID-19 is really highlighting the need for that even more. Why we can't do anything within the next month or two about this, getting people connected. There are temporary solutions with wireless and everything else, but a longer-term solution is to build this fiber network to make this happen. And you do that by taking a survey. That's how you do it.
And so, but we need your help. You need to join us. You need to support us. That would be, yes, I made a mistake there. 9 members. So, but support us, please do. Take the survey. Can't say this enough. Tell people about it. Take a moment to let some of your friends and your family members, and maybe even your enemies. You can tell your enemies, we want to hear from people of all walks of life, people that don't have internet, people that only use cellular. That would be great to hear from them. And so, that's all we have. So we can. That's the end of the presentation. We can do some Q&A. We can, if you chat it up, we can answer those questions and anything you have. And of course, members can make comments at this time if they'd like to read them. I'm not sure how that works. If we can move to a vocal section, if there is even one.
So, can you hear me there?
Yes.
All right. It wasn't that you made a mistake. We had 8 members until just recently. We just had that one member join in.
Woohoo! Thank you for joining, Ever.
Well, actually, if I remember, that brings us to 10 now.
Woo! 10.
10. Yeah, we had 9. Now we have 10.
That is phenomenal. Thank you so much. Anything else?
Yeah, any questions, anything else? Otherwise, I think we'll roll it up. We'll wait a few moments just in case there's any questions. But I think we're pretty good there. Give it a moment for people to type.
Yeah, that's fine.
We do have people like Larry who's on satellite. It may take a minute for that communication to go up into space and then back down and then to us.
Poor guy.
Oh, how do we become a member? So if you go to the IFMC website, you'll see there's a membership section. I'll give you a direct link in the answer to your question now through the chat here.
Yeah, you can just become a member by going to ifmc.co /support page. You can choose one of the different memberships that we have there, and all you have to do is choose like regular membership or family membership. I would hope that you please do not order more than one membership at a time. Our system is not meant to buy multiple memberships at this time. But if you can do one membership at a time, that would be greatly appreciated. So you can join us there. Just some quick statistics. So 378 out of 5,000 means we are at nearly 7.5% to our goal. So that's really great. So we're getting closer every day. So
thanks for the quick math on that from another one of our members, John.
Thank you, John. We have a question about pricing on Starlink. No, we have not seen any pricing on Starlink. There's been some discussion from a lot of industry analysts that they don't think that Starlink is going to pan out the way that a lot of people are thinking it's going to be. The competitor to like a cable and everything else. While they can do up to 1 gigabit, I think it was Greg Dawson said that they basically have to bond those connections together to get that. So that means that each satellite has to bond it together to a certain location, much like MIMO is for 5G. They have to bond that together to get that high-speed connectivity under Starlink. So they're not really. Some of the industry analysts are skeptical this is actually going to actually pan out the way it's going to go. And on top of that, that's not really a competitor. It's one connection. It's only one competitor, and it might not even compete with fiber or cable. But the good part is that the latency on it, whereas like with our treasurer Larry, he has satellite. His delay is a couple seconds. Whereas with Starlink, it's more low overage. That means that it's going to be a little bit more instantaneous, probably on par with DSL or cable, latency-wise.
The latency on the Star, what was it? It was 35 milliseconds, I think they said, is the average latency.
Yeah.
And the cost of it was going to be anywhere between $100 to $500 to buy the setup, and then whatever it costs to have it installed, and then it's supposed to be, they said, roughly $80 a month.
Do we know that's going to be unlimited, or is it going to be like a balance?
There's no words about caps or anything like that. From what I can find, it's just the price on the setup and the monthly service.
Good input.
We did have a question that I answered in the chat there, but I wanted to say it out loud too. We asked if we were a 501c3. We are a 501c4.
At this point, with the tax differences, there isn't a whole lot of tax differences for much of the individuals. The recent tax bill has really taken away a lot of donations capability from that. So even if we were a 501c3, your donations would have to greatly exceed what your standard deduction is anyways. So we don't foresee a whole lot of individuals, but however, if you're out there and you're a wealthy individual and you want to support us at the wormhole sponsorship level, which is $5,000 a month, we would really, and the reason why we call it the wormhole sponsorship level, it's $1,000 a month. Thank you, $1,000 a month. Is because that would get us across the universe, kind of thing, like much what a wormhole would do in the first place. And so, if you look at the support page, we have started at light speed, which is our minimum level, which is what we're trying to get to. But of course, if you are a wealthy individual, we would love to have the wormhole sponsorship level at that level. So.
And the other main reason that we're a 501c4 not a 501c3 is that we do political related things. We're involved in getting those politicians on board with the concept. So with 501c3, we're kind of bound a little bit on how much political involvement we can have with 501c4. It's much more forgiving for that type of engagement.
Exactly. If for some reason we did see a referendum come out, a 501c3 would not be able to get involved in that political process. However, a 501c4 can get involved in that political process for referendums, and of course to be for or against certain things. So that's the reason why we chose that.
We have another new member count from John there. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
I'm looking forward to our next meeting because this is going to be great.
So upcoming events. So we don't have any other events scheduled other than our monthly meetings. Like Brett said, we do have meetings monthly where we talk about the various business of the organization. If you sign up, we are doing web conferencing, so you can listen in, you can join in. I mean, at this point with COVID-19, we're doing everything remote, and we're going to be doing it through, a web conferencing system. So you can join us, you can keep involved. We do, for the members, we do have a chat system. You can join us at chat.ifmc.co, where I do share various links. You can ask questions, get involved. A lot of the organizations, like for example, Illinois for ranked choice voting, they have something like like a Discord type system where they all work together throughout the state to coordinate their efforts. So you can join us there as well.
All right, I'm not seeing many more questions come through, are you?
No.
well, let's go ahead and wrap this up if there's no other questions. I really want to thank everybody for being here. It's really great to be able to do this. It took a lot of work to get this together, and of course we had some technical difficulties, which we'll improve upon as time goes on with that. But thanks for being patient with us, joining us. Please, like I said, please do share the survey. The survey is the cornerstone of what we're doing. And see you around. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. We'll make a difference yet.
Thank you for stopping by.
Larry?